Hello everyone. In the previous videos, we have built our AI agent from scratch and integrated many functionalities. We had, for example, our agent tell us the time at a certain location using a library, the zone info library to be specific. Then we integrated the weather API to tell us weather at a particular city that we require. Then we wanted to translate our response. We integrated an LLM API, specifically the Gemini API, to translate that response for us. Lastly, in our previous video, we integrated a voice model to it because I wanted to hear the responses out loud. In this video, we are going to access news from the best news source ever, that is Reddit. That was obviously sarcasm, don't take it so seriously. But what we're going to do is we're going to integrate Reddit's API, and we're going to do that with our AI agent, of course, and see how we can get some news for topics that we are interested in. And for that, we will be using Reddit's API. Now, you may think that well, this is very similar to what we did over here for our weather API, right? All we did was call an API, get the information. That's basically what we're doing over here. But this is me just trying to make you explore more and more use cases on what you can actually achieve with these AI agents without doing a lot of the hard work. All right. So, without further ado, let's let you see that on the big screen, and once you've seen it, let's go over to the library that we'll be actually using to achieve this. So you can call it pro, you can call it pro, you can call it praw. Essentially what it is a Python based Reddit API wrapper. That's basically what your screen tells you right now. So we're going to use this library to make it a little easier for us to call Reddit's API. What we have done now is made a requirements file. So the repository is linked down in the description below, as it has been in the previous videos. So if you want to build those from scratch, all those features, I suggest you go watch them. The place is also linked in the description. Right now we have the requirements file. I've added this pro library over here. Let's call it pro. I just find it better that way. And to use a requirements file, if you're new to doing projects on Python, all you have to do is pip install -r requirements.txt. This will read, this -r is to help you read from the requirements file. It will check out these requirements and install them. You can also specify the version of the requirements. For now, I've kept it a little dynamic. And for me, all of the libraries have already been installed, so it tells me that my requirement is already satisfied. For you, it may take a little longer to install, and once it's done, you will be good to go. Now, what are the next steps to actually integrate this Reddit's API? This library has been installed, but how will it communicate with Reddit? I will need some set of credentials, as I have been for my 11 Labs API, for my weather API, right? In my example file, I listed down all these APIs in the previous videos. In this one, I will need 3 credentials that is given to us by Reddit officially. Well, 2 to be specific. First is the client ID, second is the client secret. That's basically your username, the ID and password, and I'll tell you how to get them. Then you need your Reddit user agent. That's a subjective name, which is basically a bit of a descriptor that tells Reddit who is accessing this particular um, functionality using this API. So this is just a placeholder name, my news bot. You can specify the version and give your own username. This is obviously taking the assumption that you have a Reddit account. You are already registered on Reddit. If not, just sign up for it. No harm there. And /u is basically used to represent usernames, and whatever your username is, you put it down there. I've listed it in my env file, which I will not be showing you because that is not a good practice. All right. So that is basically the variables that I've used over here. How do you get these API keys? I have mentioned the link in my readme file. You can again either just go to this simple URL, or you can access my repository from the description, check out the readme file and go to this link. If you're logged in on your browser, you will most likely be authenticated automatically, or just log in and then generate your application. It will give you a client ID and your secret. You put that in your environment file and you should be good to go along with your user agent. This is the third one right here. All right. Now that is all you have to do to set this entire thing up. To actually get things in motion, we first start off by installing whatever we need. Now this is just for initializing some types. It's a good practice to define the return types of your functions. I didn't do it in the previous videos, just wanted to get off the surface as quickly as possible. In this one, I'm just implementing a new thing for you to know. Second, we install this library. Third, we just get a module from this library that is exceptions, which is basically used to throw any sort of errors in case something goes wrong. So that's also good practice to handle your errors gracefully. That's what we're doing over here. All right. So we'll start off with this. Now, let's dig into the logic. What are we going to do over here? I'll just minimize this entire thing. I've written three new functions. The last one was get voice responses. That was from the previous video. After that, there are three new functions. First is one that helps us find the relevant subreddits, and it takes in a topic as an input. A topic which will be a string, whatever topic we want the news to be on. It gives us the relevant subreddits. Now, this of course is not driven by AI exactly. We write the code for this. I've already written the code down. I will go through it line by line for you, and it returns a string, sorry, a list of strings, which are basically the subreddits, the relevant subreddits, from which I can maybe get some news articles given my topic. Next, I have the function to actually get some news. Then, in that takes basically the subreddit as an input, and it can take the topic optionally. It simply returns the dictionary, that is basically news with respect to the subreddit, as an output. Alright, similarly, I have another function over here, get news by topic, just to handle different cases. Let's go over them one by one. So we start off by I've just defined this for you because if you want to access this via the repository, you should know exactly what it does. So it takes a topic as an argument. It gives me the relevant subreddits. Alright. Now, what I've done is I have taken the liberty, with the help of a friend, to list down some of the subreddits based on certain topics that I might want to get information from. For example, if I want some news related to politics, I have listed down some subreddits, well, from Reddit obviously, that have the relevant posts coming up to it on a regular basis. And I have listed down different topics over here, and that's basically all that I've done. I've listed down my topic category and the subreddit that is available on Reddit for the same. All right, and I've done this in multiple parts. If I want this news category, I can do that. If I want news related to a certain region or a country, I can list it down in such a way, and you can just enhance this based on your own subjectivity, based on whatever you want out of this AI agent. So it is completely up to you how much you want to extend this. Now, if whatever topic I've searched for is not a part of these categories, I will go to my default subreddits and get some news from there if available. All right. Then I will just normalize everything so that it's easier for my agent to process. I will make the topic lowercase. Then, based on my input, I will check if any of the subreddits listed over here have any of the keywords that I have put inside my prompt. If it is found, great. I have this list over here. I will add my subreddits to this list. And I've also made one small extension to it, and this is, you can just use minor extensions and subjective extensions to your own AI agent. For example, if I put news in my prompt, it should add the news subreddit to my list. All right. Lastly, a fallback case. If I don't find any relevant subreddits, I should simply return these default subreddits which I have defined over here, so that I can try to fetch something at least. All right. Now, what we do next is just a bit of processing. We just remove the duplicates, and then we return the top 5 subreddits that we've been able to find. Top 5 is just the first 5 subreddits that we have found, so as to not have a lot of results, which can also lead to our API hitting its rate limit. We don't want that, it's a free API. All right, next, we actually want to get some news now. We have the subreddits. How do we get some news out of this subreddit? So it says it's simple. You have your subreddit over here. It will fetch posts from the relevant subreddit using the API. How does it do this entire process? It will take in my credentials. I'll check if my credentials are present, great. If not, I should throw an error saying that my credentials are not present. This is just a good practice to know whether my authentication has been done properly or not. All right. Next, we initialize our Reddit client using our credentials. Then we try to get the subreddit that has been given to us by this function that we were just talking about. So we taken the subreddit as an input. We check if the subreddit exists or not. All right, and of course it should be a public subreddit. So we just do that and we get the subreddit's information from the API. Next, our topic is an optional field over here in this function, right? It's an optional field. And if our topic has been provided, what we'll do is we will search the subreddit using this topic. We'll try to get all the posts that mention this topic, and at least that will be the attempt. So we'll try to get the newest posts, and that's basically the whole idea. And if we have not provided a topic, our goal is to just get the most recent most recent posts from the subreddit so that we have something returned, so that we have something to read instead of a blank result. All right. And if we still don't end up getting anything, we will simply return nothing. We'll say that no posts have been found in the relevant subreddit, so we move forward. But if we do find posts, we have to format it. If we have content, we will restrict it to 500 characters, something like this. So you might not even get content. What if someone just posts a title and does not have any sort of content inside? We don't know anything about it, right? But if we do, we'll limit it to 500 characters. We don't want the UI to get overloaded. But what we'll do is we'll also provide the link of the original article that may be present if that is the case. Otherwise, we will also give the Reddit URL as part of our output. So all of this formatting has been done, and we append that to our list, and we finally return that by mapping it to our subreddit. So that is what we're doing. Lastly, we're just handling some errors, that in case the API throws an error, if you're trying to access a private subreddit or something like that, it might throw an error because, well, it's not publicly available information, right? So that's what it will do. Then we will simply throw an error for a case that we may not have handled over here properly. All right. Lastly, we've discussed how to get subreddits. We've discussed how to get news if we have the subreddit with us. But these two functions are not calling each other. We also need to make them talk to each other, right? That is why we have the next function. That is get news by topic. That is basically what our agent should primarily use, because that is what we'll be providing the prompt for. We'll give it a topic. We can give it an optional limit, which is by 10 by default. So what it does is, like I said here, it searches for relevant subreddits on a topic and fetches the news wherever it is available for us. So we'll be getting a dictionary, and that is what I've specified over here. Now, we are now calling our function that we specified over here based on our topic. This topic, we will be writing it in simple English, right? The give me news about technology, for example. So it is our AI agent's job to figure out what is supposed to be the topic in that sentence, and that is what it will provide over here. So if the AI agent is good enough, it will figure it out on its own. And we will go to this function, find the relevant subreddits, and so on and so forth. All right. So we go back to our function. We'll find our relevant subreddits for that topic. If we don't have some relevant subreddits, it's fine. We will, not return anything over here. But if we do find some subreddits, it is our job now to get news from the function that we discussed right before this one. So what we'll do is we'll go over each subreddit, right? And what we're doing is just trying to limit it to 3 subreddits at a time. We returned 5 over there at best, but we want to just restrict it right now due to rate limit issues. And that's good enough for our example right now. If you want, you can extend it. What we'll do now is call the previous function with our subreddit and the topic that has been given. And of course, this is an optional topic, as I've already discussed. Then I will have my dictionary, that is my results returned from this function. I will add my result to it. And then once that is done, I'll go for the next subreddit and the next till I have all subreddits covered maximum 3 in number. If there is an error, it's fine. We'll just handle that. We've added some formatting for that. All right. So we're trying to get the title, some content, the URL of the news article if there is a variable, and the Reddit URL available for us. And then we will return everything. Lastly, as we've been doing in the previous videos, we have our root agent. We've added one critical component over here though. Now is when we dig into the prompt engineering portion of it. We wrote a simple prompt previously that was restricted to this sentence, and you can pause and read this if you want, or you can just again clone the repository if that is something that interests you. So you can do that. In this video, what I've done is I've really dug into the prompt engineering, and I've noticed that it really helps with the formatting of my responses. So I have simply mentioned that you have to do this when you are asked about news, and I've listed down its own role when it's asked about news, and I've told it that you have to basically fetch news articles from Reddit. Not exactly articles, just recent news from Reddit's subreddits. So I've given it steps that I have to analyze the user's request. I have to then call the appropriate tool, which is the function that we just discussed. Then I have to format my response in bullet points and a lot of other things that you can again pause to read. I don't want to take up live time over here. Then I have to give out my response in a certain format, which we will see in a bit. All right, so I've also given it a bit of a caveat saying that you should prioritize news from Reddit instead of generating its own content. And that's basically what I'm telling you, that you should call the tool to solve your problem instead of trying to figure it out yourself. I've defined the tool for you, use it. That's basically what I'm telling my agent over here. All right, so I have my list of tools. These were implemented in the previous videos, and I have find relevant subreddits and get news by topic. And I think I've missed one, that is get Reddit news. But that's fine, we don't really need this one because what I want to really use is the one below it, get news by topic. Alright, so you can put it, you can not put it, it'll work either way, I can guarantee you that, because we're about to see that in action now. You already know the command if you've seen the previous videos. If you haven't, I highly suggest that you do so. You'll get a grasp of how to set this agent up by yourself. So we go with ADK web, and that will give us the UI to test our AI agent. It'll take a second because my laptop is a little slow, but we wait. All right, it's on port 8000, so I'll go over to my new tab, go to port 8000. We have a multi-tool agent selected by default because there is only one. Now, let's just try to see what we did in the previous video, just to verify whether our agent is working perfectly or not. What is the weather in Tokyo? So it calls the get weather function and it tells me whatever is the weather over there. So our AI agent that we've built so far has been working. We want to test out our new functionality, whether that is working or not. So give me some news about technology. So it calls my get news by topic function, which is our intention. We've made it available for it to use in our list of tools, and it gives us some information and tells us which subreddit is this information from. All right. So it gives us some headings: science fiction or reality, what technologies of the future, blah blah blah, and it tells us that we have the Reddit link. Let's see if this link actually works or not. And it does. It is a valid link. It's opening on Reddit. We're good to go. All right. We just go down a little bit and more news from different subreddits. It's working fine. Lots of news actually, and from r slash technology. And all these news articles seem interesting enough. And you notice that it is also wherever it's possible for us, it is also giving us the actual news article and the Reddit link, which is what we wanted, right? So that's from theverge.com. and it's giving us a valid link. Same goes for our Reddit link. That's also working just fine. All right. So I'm not here to dig into the news aspects of it. I just wanted to show you how this can actually work. Let's try to see one more thing. Can it limit the results for each subreddit? Give me some news about farming. This is not something we have listed down in our AI agent yet. So can it actually give us some news? Because it should use the default news subreddit. And if we don't have any news available on that subreddit, it should give us the appropriate response. Let's see how that works. And there you go. We didn't list farming in our list of topics that are over here, right? I don't see any of that, but it was able to use the default news subreddit to get some information for us. So it's working just as we wanted to. It's giving us the link to the article and the Reddit link. And you can just try this out on your own as well. I'm just gonna do one more case and then I'll call it a wrap. Give me one news article for business. Basically trying to see how well is the limiting feature working from our AI agent. Now it's interpreting all of this on its own, right? We've simply defined the parameters and the functions. It is taking this prompt, interpreting it on its own based on its own model's capabilities and giving us exactly one article. All right. And of course, it will also be a Reddit link, and that is a valid link. So that's basically what we have over here. And in the next video, we're going to dive into more such APIs, connecting more such different capabilities to our AI agent so that we can extend it, make it our own Jarvis if that's the intention. And that's where I'll see you. So stay tuned and follow for more.